Elon Musk reveals new nuclear starship. The space industry is shocked. Elon Musk hopes to set up a community on Mars, but that will take him a maximum of 5 months, which is excessively long. But he has devised a clever method to reduce the trip to 100 days or even shorter. Whether you're considering a trip to Mars, what is this method and how does it operate? You must start by thinking about how you'll travel the long distance between the two planets. Although, if you select the ideal time to leave, which only occurs on rare occasions when the two planets are in the best possible position, you'll remain in travel for 5 months. Well, this is too long. When it comes to space travel, it takes too long to reach a destination because space is so big. Humans have been getting around with big, fuel-burning rockets. However, this constrains the places we can go because it requires a lot of energy and time to get there. SpaceX is making a starship that will take human beings to Mars. Musk understands that you would not like to travel between Earth and Mars for 5 months, right? This is because astronauts on a Mars mission would have been subjected to very high doses of radiation, which could cause long-term health problems like cancer and infertility in explorers going to a new place. Musk wished them to be as fit and productive as possible when they got there. Radiation coating can assist them, but it is incredibly heavy, and the longer the mission, the additional shielding is needed. A more excellent way of reducing radiation dose is just to travel quicker. The longer you are on the path, the higher the probability it is that something could go terrible, like running out of gas or having a bar break, putting the mission at risk, and deep space is the last location you would like to try. If anything really bad happens, you're entirely on your own. So, Elon Musk must come up with the fastest method for getting individuals to Mars. While exploring space for scientific reasons, it's essential to get information from uncrewed missions as quickly as possible. For instance, it took Voyager 2 12 years to reach Neptune, and it took a few great pictures as it sailed by. Researchers might have gotten those pictures and the information years ago if Voyager 2 had a quicker way to move. Musk has said before that he is thinking about different ways to power spacecraft as a way to learn more about the cosmos. For instance, he wrote on Twitter that it would be a brilliant idea for NASA to study rockets that are powered by nuclear energy. He has a compelling reason for all this, which is that nuclear systems are quicker. Yet, why is a starship that runs on nuclear power quicker? Let's find out how rockets operate in space. When you've probably got away from the pull of the Earth's gravity, you should be worried about 3 factors. The first one is thrust, which is how fast the system can move a spaceship. The second aspect is mass effectiveness, which is how much thrust a system can make with the provided quantity of fuel. The third element is power density, which is how much energy there is in a provided amount of mass, with a certain quantity of fuel. Chemical propulsion, regular fuel, and electric propulsion system powered by the sun is most often used. Chemical systems for propulsion have a great deal of thrust. Chemical rockets don't work as well as other types. This happens because rocket fuel is not really energy dense. For instance, the Saturn V rocket, which took astronauts to the lunar surface, generated 35 million newtons of force to lift off and managed to carry 950,000 gallons of fuel, most of which was utilized for the rocket into orbit. The issue is that it requires a large amount of heavy fuel to travel anywhere. Another choice is to utilize solar panels to turn energy into thrust. Using an electric Fiesta is probably the most popular way to achieve this. These systems are frequently employed to power satellite systems and may be more than 5 times as efficient as chemical ones. Yet, they only make about 3 newtons of thrust, which is sufficient to move a vehicle from 0 to 60 miles per hour. You do not wish to travel to Mars in a spaceship that moves that slowly, and that's even before you think about how many solar panels will be needed to run that starship, which really is silly. Even though the sun's power source is never ending, it gets less useful as the starship moves further away from this. On the contrary, a spaceship that runs on nuclear power is more likely to work since nuclear energy devices have a very high energy density. The energy of uranium fuel used in nuclear reactors is 4 times greater than that of hydrazine, a widely used chemical jet fuel. Even though the present Starship doesn't even use hydrazine, The fuel is nowhere close as effective as uranium fuel. This makes it much simpler to deliver a small quantity of uranium into space than just a huge amount of hydrogen or a huge number of gallons of gasoline. Before we discuss the various possibilities, let's focus on what's good about Musk's nuclear power ideas. A Starship is a spaceship that runs on nuclear power. You might be wondering if you are protected. Several people think that something nuclear is either a disaster or has deadly radiation that can make a person extremely sick. Let us just begin with making sure everyone on the Starship is secure. Fluid propellants built into the rocket will indeed reduce the likelihood of radiation. Yeah, of course, the Starship will still contain rocket fuel for backup systems. It will be kept between the engines and the crew region, which will behave as a security shield to keep out radioactive materials. Apart from that, the layout of the space between the crew and the reactor creates a buffer. The living areas are located on the reactor's extreme side of the spaceship. However, what about the safety of people beyond the spaceship? In another tweet, Musk said that the nuclear reactor on board wouldn't start until it left Earth's orbit, suggesting he's taking things slowly. It also means that the spacecraft will nevertheless be sent into space by a super heavy rocket powered by chemical rocket fuel. Still, the nuclear reactor will start after the initial 2 phases. If something terrible happened and the rocket's reactor cracked, the pieces wouldn't hit the Earth or another planet for tens of thousands of years. By then, the radioactive particles would have broken down sufficiently so that it would no longer be a threat. So, now we know a nuclear-powered spaceship is secure for everybody. Let's discuss how the nuclear system in the Starship are set up. Musk could use either of 2 types of nuclear systems. The first option is a nuclear thermal propulsion, which is extremely strong and works pretty well. They warm a fuel like hydrogen with just a small nuclear fission reactor that is comparable to the ones that power nuclear submarines. The thrust would then be made by pushing the gas through a rocket's nozzle. A rocket operated by chemicals will get a spaceship to Mars 20 to 25% faster. Nuclear thermal propulsion systems are much more than twice as powerful as chemical propulsion systems. This means that 100,000 newtons of thrust can be made with the same quantity of repellent mass. Nuclear electric propulsion is the second type of rocket that uses nuclear power. The goal is to generate electricity with a high-performance reactor. This would then power something such as a Hole thruster that uses electricity to move. It would work 3 times better than a nuclear thermal propulsion system since the nuclear reactor might make a large amount of power. Musk says that the Starship's nuclear power systems are the best choice for its extended trips because they are exceptionally efficient and stable and capable of producing strong thrust. Well, that's it for today's video, and we hope you enjoyed this video. If you're a fan of Elon Musk and new space innovations, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more future content. Thanks for watching. See you next time.